Let me just announce everything. It's kind of strange not having a camera on. It's kind of relaxing as well. But you can probably tell it's very, very warm here. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. Should start working soon. Yes. I should be here. Okay. So, I'm going to be making some presets. There's a ventilator running in my room. I have some ice bottles and I have no shirt on. So, I'm suffering a little bit from the heat, but I wanted to stream anyway because I want to just show you some preset making and stuff like that. The ventilator may be picked up by the microphone, I cannot tell. I do think it is, like from the sound wave or from the mixer in OBS, but it should be low enough that it doesn't really come through. If it does, let me know, I can put it like lower maybe. Anyway, this is project. I have a kick that I made for the pack. I'm working on a preset pack, so that's why I'm doing this. I have a bass line. Just all standard stuff, nice bass layer here. Some simple stuff here. And then this is I think the last preset that I was working on. This is some kind of like atmosphere stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I like to make. What I want to do is, for most of these packs, I'm creating it in a way that there's like an automated filter movement or something like that. And then I go in here, and there's a cool thing you can do where if you want to take control of the filter movement, you set up the mod wheel like this. So the mod wheel goes to the filter cutoff, and then it also inadvertently is like an aux source for your normal filter modulation. And then you set this at 99. So as soon as you turn up the mod wheel, this modulation will completely stop and this one will take over. And that's actually very, very smooth. So this just acts like a filter control. It's also very loud for some reason. Why does it? We can go like this maybe. Hello Klaus, DJ LK, how are you doing? Mind B, welcome. Nice to see everybody here. This is just going to be, as I said, a chill stream. There's not much exciting stuff happening, just some cool sound design. But yeah, so this mod wheel stuff is very interesting. I've been doing this for a lot of the different presets that I'm making. This is actually an old preset, and I'm modifying it to have all of the macros, and in this case also the mod wheel and stuff like that. And then it will be part of the pack. So what we need to do is just add interesting sound design. I think for now it would be cool to maybe just make like a second melody here, so that we have an idea of how this works when like doing this, for example. I do quickly want to see what this looks like. Let me turn on the menu. I'm not really set up for anything, as you can tell. It has been a while since I streamed. Obviously I took my vacation and stuff like that. I was back in time for the feedback stream, but I was really tired, so I decided just not to do it. And I already said that I didn't do it like last week because I knew I was traveling. It's an interesting patch with the few harmonics coming in like that. Malogify, welcome. So we need more stuff here, right? We have this one layer which just turns up this extra like upper harmonic stuff that is happening. It might be cool to apply some rhythmical modulation somewhere here. How was my vacation? It's nice. I just spent 6 days at home with my parents and my sister, and she brought some of her like study mates with her. So there were more people than I would have wanted it. I always like if we do like a family thing that it's just the family, but it was really nice and they turned out to be just very chill, so that's really good. There was one person that was maybe a little bit more attention grabbing, I would say. How hot is it in Italy? It's 40 degrees here. As the title suggests. It is actually like 39, 40 degrees, so it's terrible. Let's see if this works. Just like a little bit of FM on there. That's cool. What I want to do is I want to make it a little bit less stable. So I'm actually going to use chaos of 1 and 2 here. We'll turn that down a bit to like this. And then just set like a different rate for both of them. I don't get why is this one moving more than that one there. I don't really get the chaos oscillators if I'm totally honest. Maybe I should set them to mono. Here. Because sometimes it just looks like this first one, Chaos 1, just kind of goes from point to point and then it just wobbles around like here and then it goes to there. And it does that randomly, but it keeps like the same wobble to it. I would have liked it if it didn't do that. If it was purely random. In Germany it's nice. Yeah, also my sister in the Netherlands said it's like, it has been like 18 degrees, 19 degrees, like the whole summer, basically up north. But here in Italy, it's much worse. Eduardo, welcome. How are you doing? Maybe a bit of noise. We'll get some. Of this stuff, maybe. We'll put that on the macro. Is that how you spell it? Crackles? Cracking noises, yes, perfect. That's what I want. And then this will be like FM tone, maybe. I would like to have some more stuff happening on this macro then, so that we get some more like grit out of it. We can apply, what's a nice soft distortion that does generate a lot of harmonics? I guess this, maybe. Like just like that. It does distort nicely there. Yeah, I've never the chaos oscillators. I've never really used them because they're a little bit confusing for me. Anytime that I can get away with using the note on random, then I would. But here, for like a pitch modulation like that, you want that randomness to kind of flow through the whole thing. You don't want to just generate one random value, so you have to use these ones. There's still probably better methods for actually using them and understanding them. I would need to maybe read the manual on what the mono exactly does. Read the manual. Mono. Let's see if I can find it on the chaos oscillators maybe. Chaos. Page 41. Every voice that you're playing will have its own chaos oscillator. However, sometimes it's all voices to share the same chaos motion. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but we're playing just a single voice here, so that doesn't really solve that wobbly problem. I guess that works. Yeah. Currently I'm using the noise oscillator, but that would work in other patches maybe. This is fairly cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to macro 3. And then I'll put the ambience on macro 4. One of the important things I think with presets when you're making them, say that you want to set up some delay reverb for them, like I'm doing in this case. We'll go with like a nice big size. We can make the reverb fairly bright. Can give it a little bit of this. And then what I like to do is always give people the possibility to easily turn off the ambience, because I'm personally not a fan of the ambience stuff like the delay and the reverb inside of Serum. So this is a way that you can just easily like turn it off and on. That works. I like that. Unison is also multiple voices. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's dependent on this as well, right? This is the voice counter, yeah. And it should say then 11 playing. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Reactor. Sliding sine Atmos. I do need a little bit of space. I don't want the description to flow over. This isn't a lot of space that you have here, and I want to tell people, because the mod wheel doesn't actually have like a label, I have to tell them that the mod wheel equals the filter in this case. So you get something like this, and then here, these are the presets that I have now for the next pack. Atmos, and we'll call this, I don't know, sliding sines. Even though there's no sine waves involved here, I like the name because it has a very strong peak here. I guess also the distortion and stuff comes from the kind of cancelling that you get from these high detuned. This is basically a sine wave, and I think this might... No, not really. I need another towel soon. Kev, how are you doing? Welcome. Hashi, do you like Sybase? Sybase. I mean, if you ask me if I like Psytrance bass lines, then yes, but what exactly is Sybase? Sybase artist. So music depends the elements of psychedelic and bass music. Heavy bass lines, glitchy beats. Wait. And trippy soundscape that create an hypnotic and all will be atmosphere of Sybase. Festivals and events. Okay. To be honest, I haven't really listened to Sybase. I think I may have heard like an artist in passing at Burning Mountain in the chill out zone, but tipper. Did I get a tip? Okay. I think I may have heard one artist in the chill out zone, but it's not something. Oh, that's an artist name. Okay. I thought I was missing something because it didn't show in my like feed. And I always want to thank people if they do decide to tip. But yeah, no, I don't listen to it like regularly or something like that. Okay, so this one is saved. We can make a bunch of atmospheres like this. I have another idea. There's this cool thing that you can do where you remove harmonics like this, and then towards the end, so like so. And then you basically have this kind of wobbly mess of harmonics here, which aren't really tonal anymore because you have removed kind of the lowest fundamental part of it. Alright? Can I show this? I guess like this for now. You get something like that, and then you can detune that heavily to get like this washed out kind of sound. Almost like a little bit of noise there. Spongle. Yeah, that's not really like heavy bass. For me, I used to make dubstep, and heavy bass really like is distorted and stuff like that. Spongle doesn't really sound distorted to me in that same sense. Do you know what I mean? Here we're distorting. Maybe it's a good idea to use something like a reverb filter on this then. This is cool. And then we can slowly change the pitch over time. Like this is where I would then use a chaos oscillator. But here we can use the noise track then, if I don't use the noise. So we go pitch down, all the way down, and then here you should be able to just get the noise oscillator, right? Yes. Some cool stuff in there. Let's see, maybe it changes if we something like that, and then here we'll use just some kind of trans gated effect on there to at least give it some rhythm. Because it doesn't have any harmony, it does need some musical elements. Something like that. Maybe it's still a bit too broad, like the harmonics that we have. Maybe we should... Yeah, ring it out like that. And then we duplicate this over and an octave higher. Okay, we go like that, and then like this, and that will kind of like wash it out. Maybe that's a bit too much then. It still has that trans-gated feeling, but it's almost like a continuous signal still. Like the reverb takes over, because this is, I think, the reverb length in this case, right? That's kind of cool. We'll add our like typical stuff. Let's reverb it out more. This can also be just wash out, something like that. Let's assign the mod wheel next. The mod wheel I usually do like taking over another modulation. So we would already need some kind of modulation in here. What I'm thinking is maybe just to bend these two together, like into the center, because that's where the little hump is here. Oh, that's gonna fall. Hang on. I'm so tired of this. The cloth that I hang up for my lighting to work just does not want to hang up on this wall. I have little hooks with glue on the back, which are terrible, and I have to replace them every 2 weeks. I just brought new ones, and now I also bought some duct tape, so I duct taped them to the wall with the, like, I put on the hook, then duct tape them over, and now both the hook and the duct tape are just coming off, so I need to make it better still for it to just stay up there, which is not really something I want to do now, because in like a week I get the keys for my new apartment. Oh, that's some cool stuff. We can maybe do some rhythmical ideas here then. Don't want to go too crazy. Holding shift generally makes more points than I wanted to. Like, what are you? Is this 2 points now? Yes. Why? I do want to gain stage both of these so we get a nice loud sound. Might be cool to have this slightly move over time as well. So we would put this like 50 and then 50, and then we'll just go here and do this 50 as well. so that they're summed together and modulated together, and then this can be our like very slow movement. Kind of like a scratch sequence. But now we can take all of these warps and mod wheel on all of them. Then you invert all of them like so, and then you go up, 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 and then assign the mod wheel to those parameters that you just set here. And we'll just do unipolar like this, and B as well, like this. And now what happens is the melody will, or the modulation will be the same unless I use the mod wheel. So it will fully replace the modulation that is happening with this and this. Size steam train, yes. Yes, it does sound like that a little bit. Let's see. So this is already washing it out completely. Sometimes with these patches where it's not really clear what I want to add, I just have to like continue, I guess. We can add maybe a bit of a stronger phaser here. We'll set this on the macro as well so that it opens up more. Can modulate the rate slightly. Let's actually go with like 2 bars here, so that it's not tied to the same modulation as the one that is adding the movement to this. In fact, yeah, we should go 1.5 bars so they aren't even matched up. So this will be the phaser. One of the ways that you can make stuff more complex in sound design is if you have 2 modulations, like this is 8 bars, and this will sum together to 9 bars, right, after a few repetitions. So they're not exactly lined up together, or 7.5, and then this will be 8, right? And that means that after those 8 bars, this modulation isn't at the same place than it was at the first time that like this LFO came around. So you have these continual moving patches because the modulation doesn't exactly repeat when you sum all of the modulations together, or when you combine all of the different influences that the modulations have. Okay, I guess we'll go for dotted here. When you took some acid and a dog sniffed your ear. That's exactly what it sounds like, yeah. Oh, can you guys see the macros, by the way? I know that everything is blocking everything. I feel like if I put it down below here, it's a little bit less. What I can do is Tools, Analyzer. Now this is even worse. No, wait, I just put it up here. This is it. This is the setup. That looks good. Let's unnormalize it. Where is that? Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. And then I think I'm giving it too much slope. I want 3 dB. That's perfect. Now you guys can actually see what's going on in the frequencies and stuff. So this is again going to be ambience, or in this case just delay. It's a quick way to turn on and off the delay. You don't have to go into the patch and like click it off. Even though that can be done pretty fast, I think it's easy to just do it with the macro. It's unfortunate that macro data doesn't get sent if the note isn't being played. I wonder if there's a way to change that. I want it to morph smoothly between the different versions here. Maybe with like this. It doesn't seem to like that though. So let's not use that then. I need one more macro. That's the problem here. Maybe we can use one of the macros to make this, instead of washed out, we make it more plucky. We go down on the Y here. Why is it not updating? Ah, now it does. It only updates if you press a note. Ah, you get this kind of cool washed out effect here. We'll up this a little bit as well. Kind of washes a little bit, right? I don't like how it's always the same. Ah, there's the randomness here. I wonder how this sounds through Infected Mushrooms Manipulator. Unfortunately, I cannot test that for you. You'll have to wait until the preset pack is finished. That's good enough. Just changes the dynamic slightly. It's not a big modification, this. Maybe I want to then do a little bit more with this thing. If we really wanted to, we could try the cross shaper trick by just like going down like this and then setting this like so. That's maybe a bit too much because it's after the reverb thing. Let's go maybe 50%. And then the LFO bus 3 is gonna oh, I can bring this back so that it lines up exactly there. Yeah, now it's one smooth transformation. And we could add it almost gives the kind of effect that you get when you set the size too high on the dimension expander, but without actually using the dimension expander. Here we're just using it for stereo width. And actually this is also delaying it a little bit, I guess. But you cannot really hear it because it's this washed out like reverby sound. You know what I want to do? First of all, I want this a little bit more in the middle of the screen. Like this. Because I'm sitting a little bit to the left. And the other thing I want to do is I want to inverse the behavior of this macro. There's no easy way to do that, I think. So this is, I just have to minus this. And these are all okay. And then I just go until this is at 78. This is down. Where's the third one? Oh, here, yeah. We just call it Gator. There's some cool stuff going on here. I can definitely see this being useful in like more of a darker environment. What I wanted to aim for is those kind of classical frequency shifter things. I think you guys all know what you can do is take a frequency shifter. For anyone who makes dark sci or high tech or something like that, they've done this a million times. This is not going to come as a surprise, but you basically take a saw wave and then frequency shift and then do your little like bandpass thing here. I think you want it before the frequency shifter. It's a little bit too high. Something like this, and then have it go through a reverb. A fully wet reverb. This is the kind of thing that you hear a lot in, yeah, as I said, the kind of dark side as the background atmospheres, right? You have all of these very simple twisting things. And the idea is that it's, as you can see, just like one peak kind of moving through the frequency spectrum. And if you have 3 or 4, you can do a whole bunch of different cool automations on the shift parameter here, or the coarse frequency, I guess. Basically your frequency shifter. You just change that over time. This is a very basic shape, but you can get creative, especially when you're stacking these, as I said. Also, I forgot to say hi to a few people. Basilisk, welcome. And Fluid Dynamics, also welcome. Nice to see a whole physical principle in my chat. Noisy moving atmosphere. Mod is equal to, in this case it's not the filter. What do I call this? Just warp, I guess. I guess brightness is better. Yeah, but then this. I want it to stay in here so that you don't have to go into the browser and actually like read it. Because I think here in the browser it should display as well somewhere, maybe. Either way, this is never enough text to actually write something useful. Okay, now with that out of the way, let's get back into some sequences. This is obviously not going to work like on your kick and bass. At least not for the kind of sidewinds that I'm making here. By the way, does you should see your preset names. Yeah, I'm trying to sell them, so I do want a little bit of a description in here. But if you go into my user stuff, there's a few that I've named properly in here, but this is mainly just random stuff. I don't even know what half of these do. I never really use half of them. If you're making a pack, you do need to be able to at a glance see what is in like each of the presets, right? So this is powerful impact, for example. This actually is a powerful impact sound. And if you put like the ambience on there, right, then you know, okay, this is going to give it some ambience. So I do want to name everything properly and stuff like that, at least for the pack. But if I'm not doing it for a pack, then I never name anything. Even my project names, I just use numbers. I never name my projects. It's 90, 91, 92, 93, and I just continue to go on like that. If I go in here, at least for the sidewind stuff, you see there's a few other things in the works, and then most of them are just numbers. What I want to do is create like a very gritty sound in this case. Almost something that you would get from the tones pack. Let's give an example here, see if I can find. Yeah, something like this. I don't want to include just this waveform like this. I would like to do it from maybe like an FM setup. So I guess we'll go with one of those digital ones. This is more like an FM sound, I guess. Yeah, I want to kind of wash this out almost. Okay. And then fade edges, right? Yes, like that. And then I can gain it. So then I go to B. And what I want to do is I want to switch between a detuned version and a non-detuned version of it for the sequence. So let's make our like main sequence thing here for the first one. I'm just going to plug this on here for now. Let's go. Hey. Ah, this is not lined up with the grid. Ah. Holding Alt will move all of the things. And sometimes I just hold it out of habit because you have to hold it to snap to the grid. So that's what happened there. And then I'll go here. Kind of like the same thing that's going on there. Maybe have the start point here actually. what we can do then is we can decide, okay, which ones do we want for one and which ones do we want for the other. Probably like this, so that these bigger ones are made by one oscillator and then the smaller spikes are made by the other. I don't know which one is going to be which. We'll find that out now. You just have to invert one of them. These need to trigger together. And then obviously this also needs to be the start point. Clean up a bit. I'm fully trapped down the Unstableton hole now. They are very good for generative stuff. Unstableton. I like that. That's going to stick. Do I ever do not psytrance like in my free time? There is some other stuff that I've done, like some Frenchcore and house and whatever. There's a lot of old projects that I have from back when I used to like actually not do psytrance, I guess. But nowadays, yeah, it's exclusively psytrance. And what I want to do is I want to go through each of like the subgenres. So now I'm doing my main psytrance stuff, which is all of the projector stuff that you normally see, right? My kind of normal psytrance, I would say, act. And then I'm doing high-tech on the side, which eventually will get me enough high-tech tracks to release like one high-tech EP. And then once that's done, I'll go through the next. So a lot of people have been requesting for me to look into actual Goa, like old school Goa. So that will be next on the list. And then maybe I'll go progressive psytrance, and then maybe I'll go, I don't know, dark side, and then I'll go forest, and I'll do like one EP for each of them, like that. And that way I can go through all of the different subgenres and just make some music in all of them. I don't know, there's something about psychedelic sound design in particular that I just really, really like to do. I don't even know if it's the exact sound design, because a lot of the stuff is actually applicable to, I would say, like dubstep, right? A lot of the things that you do in dubstep, it's also sitting in Serum making your own patches. And that's pretty much what I like to do about the psytrance stuff. I like to make my own sounds. But for some reason, psytrance just stuck with me and I've never looked back. What about Psydub? Yeah, all of those are going to go onto the list. I don't really know the order. A lot of people, obviously, everybody requests their own genre. They all want to see me, make their genre. So everybody has a priority. Goa has been requested the most. So I think that will be next on the list after I finished my high-tech project. But don't expect that in like a month or something like that. I need to actually work on an actual EP and stuff like that. So that will take a while. But at some point that's going to be finished, and then I'll move on to the next. It's also not something that I want to put pressure on. For one, I only want to do it creatively, right? The projector stuff, the normal psytrance that I do, that's the stuff that I'm known for, and that's the stuff that I just kind of have to keep pumping out, right? To just have a steady stream of music going. And then I'm doing high-tech on the side because I like it. What's most important is what you want to make. As well, yeah. I do want to go in stages. I don't want to shift back and forth, going from this day I want to do a Goa track, then the next day I want to do some dark side, then I want to do some high-tech. Because I do think that if you do like a whole EP at once, then you learn some of the intricacies that come with each individual subgenre, and you're able to use that inside of your actual productions. The reason why I've been focusing so much on fills lately in terms of the content as well as in my own productions is because I learned in the high-tech how important the flow of the fill is, right? Because in high-tech, the way that I see high-tech production is you lay out your whole track, I'm moving with my hands, but there's no camera, so it doesn't really make sense. But you lay out basically your whole track, like in blocks like this, and then you go in with all of the complexities that you hear in the shop genre, and then you make all of those in there, right? You basically lay out the idea, basically like loops like this, and then once you have your whole idea finished, there's a good stage of production where it's just fiddling with these details. And that's something that I never really did in my own high-tech, and now, or in my own productions, the normal projector stuff that I do. But now I spend a lot more time on the fills, and I tend to actually, at the end of like the idea creation, go back into those fills and try to adapt them to the idea. And that has just resulted in much better transitioning from one element to the next. Once I go on a break, I'll show some of my newer tracks so you guys have an idea of what I'm talking about. I mean, all of you who have been watching me know that one project that we've spent a lot of time on together. Maybe you don't. Then it will be new for you. This is cool, I like that. Let's see how this works with kick and bass though. I like that. That sounds nice in terms of a rhythm. It does work as a rhythm. No, I don't want this. I always use the hyper on retrigger mode. I don't like it adding its like detuning function. It adds a nice click if you set it to retrigger mode, but only if for every like peak that you have, the note is played. So here obviously the note plays here and then it just goes into its like normal detuning stuff that it does, because it slowly evolves into that. It's only really the start that the retrigger affects. So I cannot really do my normal kind of like retrigger trick. What I could maybe do is go like so, and we'll keep all of these like low, and I'll, oh, Serum doesn't like that. We'll like take all of the glides out and we'll just make flux here for everything, and then set that to the, oh, we also have this. Maybe the other way around. Another thing to try is pitch clicks. So then I would need to know where the glides are. But these need to be fairly sharp, I guess, then. This I don't want to have a click, so that we have 4 clicks here. Something like this, yeah. And you just set that to the coarse pitch of both of them. That's something that we can put a macro on, because that's useful if you want to turn that off. Pitching, okay. Now we need to add more movement, and we'll do that with the filter. Yeah, I'll go with one of these. I guess these are nice. Let's go with the second one. I like how it turns that down. It's a little bit too much. can work. We'll do like a basic 2-bar. And then here we do 1-bar movement on the filter cutoff. Set the start point here again. Trigger. We'll start higher. Let's see, where is the second one? Is here, so that takes up a whole thing. I like that. Now I need to see which one of these I want to modulate with our mod wheel here. I guess I'll go with the filter variance, because I feel like that has more impact on the sound here. Something like this. Nice. So if you turn it down, it will just be your normal modulation, and with the mod wheel you can write in any modulation that you want. Okay, now we need some more effects. So we'll first do our ambience. Those are the easiest to set up. I do like how this morphs. The ping pong delay is a little bit I do like how the normal delay morphs with the sequence. It's just that the ping pong delay is so standard in Sidetrans that any normal delay just automatically sounds strange to me. Even here, the fact that this is not dotted sounds a little bit off to me, but I do think that it works like with this part of the rhythm here, because there's like chak, 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 those 4 things. They're all 8th notes, so they kind of layer on top of each other with a delay like this. And if you set it to dotted, you're just going to get a mess from there, I think. Yeah, it doesn't sound as unified as like this. Hello? It doesn't snap back to 1, that's annoying. You get that delay kind of enforcing these slightly weaker notes, I would say. Okay, so we have our ambience set up. Just plop that on the macro. We'll go with a lot of delay and a little bit less reverb. That makes sense, like that. What we can do is maybe implement the cool chorus trick as well here, where you go like this. Really glitch it up like that. In that case, yeah, this would be where I would set a chaos oscillator, because we want random sounds here. I guess I don't really have to set it to mono here. No, in this. Ah, wait, yeah, I have to BPM sync this and then set it to, hello, 1/8 and sample and hold. That's one. Can make that a bit longer then. And this is our glitch effect. Just a built-in glitcher. That's nice. It does get a little bit louder. Let's put the compressor on there to catch some of that. Honestly, it's not stereo enough for me. I guess we can use more dimension expander for that. There does need to be a little bit of a difference, so we'll set this to like 50. That's nice. Final macro. What do we want to add? Sync maybe? I mean, we already have that kind of window effect because we removed that peak from the waveform. I guess we'll call this tone. I don't want to call them directly what they're doing. I just want to give you like a superficial idea of what the sound is doing. I think I've used this exact description before. That doesn't really matter. Mod equals peak filter. There we are. The one with the glitch. It's a cool idea, the glitch. This is the kind of thing that you learn when you're actively like making presets and want to try to make them as best as you can. I normally never use that chorus trick, but I know of it because I think I used it in one preset before. There's some really cool sound design things going on in here. Expect some cool tutorials on some of these tricks as well. What do we call this? I don't have a name for this. Glitchy pitchy. That's cool. Because it is both glitchy as well as pitching all the time. Here I think overall this can be a little bit lower and less. Maybe like that. Oh. I always map the 4 macros to 4 faders, and using 4 fingers to move them makes 6 sounds. Yeah, it's I think there's even a way that you can set up a default mapping for Serum, right? Something here, the MIDI mapping, that you automatically map to whatever MIDI controller you have. I think even outside of the DAW, it just looks at whatever MIDI controller you have installed and it just works. I would like to have that. I have a what's it called? I have a MIDI controller, but it's broken. There's 2 faders that got water in them, and every once in a while they just push out a very low value, even if I'm not moving them. Novation, I think Launch Control, can that be? Launch Control XL. I think I have this one. The first version of the Launch Control here, this. So this has faders, buttons, knobs. This has full Ableton integration, but I never use it for that. I don't even have it on my desk anymore. It's somewhere in a closet somewhere. But for sound designing, this would be really nice if there was an easy way to just set it up that it would work with the 4 macros in Serum, like automatically. Anytime I open up a new Serum instance, I just want it to work. Instrument rack, but never save the MIDI mappings. Yeah, that would also be nice. Like if you have a macro that it allows you to instantly record things. Because I do find myself spending a lot of time working on automation. And the other thing is, because I click everything, even if I want to do some kind of, let's say that I want to do some kind of organic automation. What I would do is I would just go like this, right? This sounds fine, but I have a feeling that sometimes you can get better results by just recording it in. And recording it in with the mouse, in like this, where you go in here and you just do like this. You have to, you have to do one at a time, and 2, it's a little bit strange the way that you control it. I feel like with an actual knob, it's much easier to control, and also if you have the knobs, you can obviously do more than just one. So I would like, once I have the new apartment and I have more room on the desk, I'll be able to have a permanent home for it, and then I can see and experiment if there's any automatic way to actually do that. Most MIDIs are overkill. Everyone I know only ever uses knobs for macros. Yeah. Even the one that I just showed, oh, I closed it. The Novation Control XL, it has 8 channels and everything. And the cool thing was, what you could do, I can pull it up again. Because it is actually, if you're an Ableton user, this is actually a cool thing that you might want to use. It's become more expensive. How did that happen? It has these track selectors, and what basically happens is that these are mapped. In this case, there's the 2 sends. I never use sends. You have the panning, and then your volume, and then the focus, and I think the lower one was like solo, mute, this kind of stuff, record arm, as you can see. What that basically is a control of all of the stuff that is happening on here. And with the track selector, with these track selector, it actually like moved like this, but without the step in the middle. So it moved track from track, and it actually selected them. And I found that that's an easy way, because you can sometimes be in a project and you want a quick way to move up and down a few tracks. Then it can be useful, because in here, you're just doing it like this and it's a little bit wonky, but it would always just move to the next track, move to the next track, move to the next track. So if you're playing with synths and you want to move to the next track, it's just one button press and you're assured that it always goes to the thing that you want it to go to. And then of course there's the whole personal mapping thing, right? You have the factory templates that you can, and then everything is automatically mapped, or you can do user mapping, which I think I'll use it for once I install it in a new place, and just hope for a method of automatically setting it up so that you can just map it to the 4 macros, and I guess in this case the mod wheel, and maybe some more basic parameters like filter cutoff, wavetable positions, that kind of stuff, that I always have those in the same thing anytime I open up Serum. Even recording 1 MIDI note is enough. MIDI is a strange format. It never works the way that you want it to. We had to do, because for one, MIDI is very, very old. It's like 80s, I think, maybe even the 70s when it was first invented. And now we have, I think, MIDI 2.0, but even that is not standard everywhere, and it's a mess. When I was still in university, we had to do, for one course, actually programming a MIDI device that generates MIDI. And that was such a hassle. It took so long to actually get it all right, you know, because one error, obviously with any form of coding, one error and the program where you're sending it to is just not going to know what's happening, and it's going to crash, it's going to cause errors and stuff like that. But actually generating MIDI from code and having it play like a melody or something like that is really, really hard, because it's not sending exactly, okay, play this note, play that note, play that note. It's with on-off events, and everything is tied to the event. Even like the modulation in between is technically events. So I guess this is the best way to say that. The way that it would work is if you wanted to like modulate things. I don't even think you can do that in Ableton. Yeah, this just cuts off the MIDI note completely. So here there would be a note off message sent and then another note on. Technically you don't want that. If you want, for example, the velocity to change here, you would want this to be an on and then followed by another on but with a different velocity, and then only send the off here, so that it basically changes the velocity without changing the note, I think, if I remember that correctly. I think there's a way to do that. And then obviously you have all of the MIDI control parameters, every last one of them, the MIDI CC, and you could do that for all of them. Wait. If I go here, no, there's no way to do that, I think. I would need to check. I think for the MIDI mapping problem that I have, I would need to be able to make it so that they configure with the MIDI already assigned. Only for MPE and pressure. Yeah, for MPE and pressure it's continuous. So that's a continuous format, right? So a format like this is continuous. I don't know if velocity is. Maybe velocity wasn't the right thing. Maybe it's these controls here that happen like that, because this is continuous as well, right? This is a continuous line. This is constantly changing. This has to be sent, I think, because MIDI is a live format. The problem is this: MIDI, if the MIDI starts playing here, it doesn't know that this is going to happen because it's a live format. MIDI cannot look into the future, so it has to send all of these small changes with many messages over time. And I think that MPE doesn't have to do that. So MPE is this, right, where you can implement pitch notes or pitch bends over individual notes and pressure and slides and timbre changes and all of that stuff. Whatever it is that you want to add to the note, whatever expression, I think you can do that. There's a few more. There should be like a character one as well here somewhere. I've never delved deep into this, but there's there is a way to, I think, have multiple parameters MPE assigned, because they're per note basis as well. MIDI isn't per note basis because the note events and the modulation events aren't linked together in any way. Apart from, I think the velocity is tied, and then there's the, not the chance, but a few more. Maybe it's just the velocity. Yeah, because this is all of the modulation stuff. Yeah, so this modulation stuff is not tied in any shape to the actual notes that you send. So it will just send the note with its velocity and its pitch to whatever sequencer that you're, or whatever device that you're using. It's been a little while. I'm going to take a break. Messing with trackers and old hardware sequences teaches you a lot about MIDI. C6 is a whole other universe though. C6. This is the cool thing, having a community like this. I have no idea what it is. System exclusive messages. Specific functions inside of a piece of MIDI hardware. Ah, okay. Well, maybe this is what I can use to eventually set defaults for Ableton mappings or for serial mappings. Complex messages sent over MIDI format. CV gate is a superior format. I agree. Oh yeah, you can do firmware stuff. Yeah, I know. I think I've done that for the sampler that is still at my parents' house, the Casio thing. At some point I'm also going to bring that back. I had no space here, but is it the 200 that I have? No, 1200 I think. Nope. Now I just have to guess product. Product code. Maybe without the code I can find it. This one, 1800. Yeah, this is the sampler that I have. It's a sampler, it's like one of those. It's not even meant to be like a MIDI controller or synth or whatever. It has no synth capabilities, but it has some MIDI out and stuff like that. So for that it's useful. Anyway, I wanted to take a break. I'll put on the track that I talked about before, the one where I spent more times on the fills. This one. As you can see, again, with the naming, not very good. The only thing inscribed in the name here is that it's the first one after Burning Mountain, and this was a test version of the project. But I decided to actually continue in the test version as that sounded better. But this is the track that I've been working on. A lot of these fills have been featured on the channel, like I've done some tutorials on this and a lot of shorts, because I think fills are more important than people think. Here's a nice like statistic for you guys. Anytime you see a section in here, I should tie this to the BPM then. Anytime you see a section in here, is this? Yeah. Not for the first few, but anytime we have like a complex fill here, I spend just as much time on the fill as I did on this whole part. maybe even more. Maybe for some of these, like this one here, I may have spent more time on the fill than everything that's happening in here. It also has a floppy disk drive. Yes, it does. You can save your own melodies and I think even trigger sounds from it. I think because there's like a format for it, almost like a custom sampler that you can make. At least there's something about it in the menu. I never dove deep into it, but there should be something like that. Anyway, here's the track. I'll be right back and then we'll continue.
Being a player to me that's one thing. It's a fun game. But where the real fruit is in the social aspect, where you get to meet people and play them a game and have a fun, competitive game. You do the best you can, but if you don't win, you won anyway. Because when you lose, you win too. Because if you're paying attention, you learn stuff.
Love the percussions. Good, good. The percussions also love you. Warmed up now. My ice bottles. I can't wait to have the new apartment. It's going to be a week till I get the keys, and then maybe another week to actually move everything and set everything up. I need to move some furniture around in there. Obviously I need to clean this place as well, so that's going to take a lot of time. Anyway, let's continue with what we were doing. You could make a video on it. On the sampler, yeah. Once I have it in a new place and I have everything installed, I could. It's still at my parents', so I need to take some time to actually take it over or take it to Cremona, to my apartment. But it would be a nice tool to have. Maybe learn some, like actually playing the thing, because I cannot play it. But that would be nice to, I don't know, get some more musical ideas into your music. I guess my music tends to be fairly musical already, like fairly melodic. I like to work with a lot of melodic elements. But having a keyboard and actually playing them in makes them maybe a bit more human-like, I guess, especially for stuff like intro arps or intro melodies, break stuff. Not so much the main sequences that you do. That kind of stuff has to be like on point with the beat, quantized and stuff like that. Wait, what are we? What are we doing here? Oh. We don't need that. I don't know. What do we make now? Any suggestions? Oh, some plugs. I do need some plugs. Let's make a basic plug. Just something that you can make an ARP out of. I like this motion. Wiggle, wiggle. We can work with that. This is usually how I start. Take a random wavetable and see if you can find something. Something like that. I want to remove the sharpness for this being a plug, right? Let's do something temporary here, seeing as we're working with plugs. Let's get static involved. This is big. Oh yeah, I made a thumbnail with it, so that's why. Is there a way to reset the size exactly? It does look very sharp at every size, so I don't think that that's really necessary. There's a lot of plugins that when you don't set them exactly at 100, the text isn't readable and stuff like that. That isn't the case here. I do like how this looks at random percentages. Okay. This doesn't work then, but what we can do is, I guess, randomize this. This is at least something that we can work with for now. It's not the best melody, but that doesn't matter. I want something like that. Let's make this plucky as well. This can be like a top layer for it, which you can just slightly bring in. I guess it would be nice if this is a bit more plucky. So we'll go envelope 2 here and then macro 1. That's a cool idea. I guess I can squeeze these together with the band, no? That's the band. Is there a way, what I would, or do I have to program that myself then? Essentially like this, I think. But the other way around. I would like to squeeze this in, but all the way from the starting point. Why is it still kind of like going like... Wait, it's going like that. Interesting. What I essentially want to do is I want to squeeze these 2 points together, kind of like what you get from the pulse width modulation, but from both sides. That's what I want to do. I don't know if there's a way to do that with the remap. Let's experiment some more. Can I not move this? So this, there is a sideways mapping here, right? I have to again understand how this graph works. I always thought that this was like, yeah, like this. But then if that's the case, no, wait, you would have to modulate these points then. Because you would have to modulate, like, you would have a point here and a point here, and you have to modulate these like this. But I don't think you can, no. That would be crazy if you were able to do that. future Serum update, if the developers are watching, I want to be able to modulate these points the same way that you can do with the LFO. Because this, if you squeeze it like this, it should be brighter. See, it brightens up the waveform. I guess we can use the normal pulse width modulation for this then. It's kind of the same effect. I guess it's the same effect. Yo, no, it's the same effect. It just depends on the phase, right? But it would still be cool if you could remap those points like that. In this case, it's not needed because you can get the same effect with the pulse width modulation. It's just a little bit strange. If you squeeze it in the middle, it's the same, but like with a different phase starting point, I guess. So this should, if we just like turn it up like this for both of them, just brighten it up. So this will be the brightness. And then, hey, why is the 2 selected there? This would be layer. We'll assign our mod wheel to the filter cutoff. That's kind of a standard. Doesn't really like pitch modifications. I guess because we're not sending it with MIDI, maybe? If I send it in the MIDI thing. Because I want to hear how it sounds if we're going for like a build-up pitch bend kind of thing. Well, that's anticlimactic. That didn't work at all. Very strange. Maybe that's an issue, maybe that's a bug or something like that. That it smooths it out. Maybe it's an... because it has this snapback function, right? Is there a way to disable that, maybe? Any settings somewhere? Limit mod def on drop. What I want is I want to turn off the snapping feature on the pitch bend. There's a way to do that. I'll look at that after the stream if there's a way to do that. Because I wanted to hear how it would sound if you were using this ARP in like a build-up of some sort. One of the things I sometimes forget, and I have to look through some of these presets already, the other ones, is the pitch bend amount set for each preset, so that people don't have to go in there and actually do that for themselves. I think a pitching effect on the start would be cool though. If you do like this. We'll do it for both. Maybe a little bit of modulation on here that just opens and closes slightly so that it's a little bit more exciting than just the standard pluck. This is one of those cases where the read trigger actually works, because this being a pluck, you're going to play individual notes for it, right? Okay. Let's get our reverb and delay in there. Here I'm gonna go with standard dotted. This will be our ambience. A little bit less on the reverb than the delay. And then for this final one, I guess we can add a cool, let's go with a flanger for this. Just tie it to 8 bars, easy flanger. And then we'll up these parameters also while you're going. I guess maybe the pitching is a bit much. Let's halve both of these like this. I would like some more stereo width. For that I'm going to use a chorus. I'm going to go with a low chorus in this case. I really like having these at the high pass filters and chorusing the high frequencies, but for this one I do feel like a lower one will work better. You get tired so quickly if it's so warm. Basic pluck. Yeah, that's it. Cannot say any more. Maybe it's a good idea to have the mod wheel also open up this thing here. Like this, yeah. Bit of better description, I guess. This is the hard part, coming up with the name. That's good enough. At least people will know what it means. Okay, we can do like 2 or 3 plugs. We can see if we can find something more interesting than just that basic one. There's some cool things we can maybe do in here by slightly moving. Like that. This one. Can add some noise at the beginning to give it more attack. That's nice. Now on this one I do want some kind of modulation happening. I think I want to try the pulse width modulation again, but in this case like slowly. Klaus sending a peace sign. Are you going? Is that peace or is that a wave? I cannot tell. I think that's a wave. I don't know if that means that you're going away, but if you do, have a nice afternoon, I guess. You live here in Europe, right? Yeah. This is a cool sound. It's a bit too stereo, I think. Yeah, we're using this. We can lower that width as well. So we're going into it less stereo. I mean, at the end of the day, we can do this and then like so. That looks very wonky, the way that the wave moves. Okay, so now we set up our modulation. I think what I'm going to do is with this one, it's just going to go to... we're not really doing anything with the filter. The filter is for shaping the noise. So I guess this can be the pulse width modulation. And we'll have this go all the way up. And then of course we want this to control also when that other one turns off. Here and here. Nice. Just need to remove all of the sweat on my body with the towel. I have a towel that I'm cooling, but it's not ready yet. I put the towel in the fridge. It's good vibes. Okay. Yeah, I cannot tell if it's a wave or a peace sign because the thing is so small. The emote, I guess. Okay, so now we need 4 more modulations. I guess we could do the noise level. Little trick that we can use is set this to... There we are. Takes a while. 30, and then the remaining 70, we'll have that on a macro so that we can get extra click from it. Noise oscillator level, and this will be tied to a macro. Click, and then as we're doing that, this one is going to go slightly. P-Stack vibes. Hello, Psysrout. Welcome. Okay, so that's the click there. Obviously, one of the easiest ones is our ambience that we can set up. I'll go with like a non-standard delay here. Ambience is going to be the lowest one. I always like when I'm making preset packs to always have, if I have an ambience knob, it's always going to be on like macro 4. So you don't have to look too much between the presets. And also if you're already automating something and you switch preset, there's a good chance it's the same thing, or at least like a similar type of thing. Like the first one usually has some kind of influence on the tone of the whole thing. And then there's your creative effects here usually. And then this is, for example, the ambience in most of them. For creative effects, we are already using both things that can really do glitches, I guess. We could try another glitch thing here. This almost turns it into like an actual sequence. I see a clown with ADHD. It's, I think, the melody. Maybe you should try again here. It's not always very musical what you get. Oh, I needed to set a scale, of course. That's cool. I think I want to use a phaser filter here because they tend to be a bit stronger of an effect, I guess. And we'll set that to 8 bars and then invert it so it starts higher. A bit of distortion would also be nice, a bit of strong distortion. Get a 0 square and then just tightly move that in there. This is our click thing, so we need to use this. So So this is going to be the phaser. I guess in this case, the mix should also go up. There isn't really any way to make smoother randomization. Even I think the chaos oscillator resets with every note pressed, right? One type of chaos low frequency oscillators. In the mod matrix. Ah, that's why the first one is. Ah. Okay. I do wonder if it resets with every note. I think it does. Let's check that. Because that would be a nice modulation here. If we give super chat, do you open the camera? I cannot make any promises. No, I don't think I will. I don't think I will. Don't send me money expecting me to do so. Maybe it's a cool idea. Now that we have this, to create something like this. Assign this. How would I do that? Is even possible what I want to do? Oh yeah, here. That's LFO 3. But that would mean we need to put this lower then. We go like this and then we move this with an LFO 4. And this then slowly goes. Like that, and we'll also this has to be number 2 actually. Now we lose completely this effect of the chorus though, which is not what I wanted. I've been out for a few weeks now. I'm back. Next feedback, I'll have new music to show. Nice. Also, welcome, by the way. I didn't say that, but welcome to the stream. Today is a slow stream day, as you can tell. It's way too hot to do anything. I'm also going to probably do like a shorter stream, like maybe another half an hour, and then I'll wrap it up. I'm just constantly sweating and I want to take another shower. I do like this. Very slow, yes. Just the way that I like it. What is the mod wheel doing again? Oh. I guess that's the brightness. Okay. So these are your normal kind of arc plugs. I also want a few longer plugs. So for that, let's remove static and just... Because that's very short, right? I would like some kind of analog, long, like, almost like a Moog style plug, I guess. Which I think there's some good wavetables in here for that. Just like a normal saw wave. Basic MG. Is this the Moog kind of stuff? I guess it is. For the Moog stuff, you run a lot of chaos oscillator or analog. Like if you're emulating analog stuff, you want a lot of very small chaos oscillator stuff like this. We'll do chaos 2 on this one here. See, this is just wobbling back and forth. It's not actually random, I guess. Ulvi, how are you doing? Welcome. Do you know of any plugins which you can randomize parameters in any synth or effect? Well, Ableton has LFO. And this does have a random function, and I really like this random function. So this is just like your standard random, and then you can smooth it out, right? So it snaps back and forth. And then you can also introduce this kind of jitter. And this is a really good random signal because it's popping all over the place, and then in that it also has a little bit of like non-smoothness to it, right? Because this is too smooth. You can just hear any time it just kind of jumps. But this way, it kind of masks those jumps and just goes from random position to random position. The only issue I have with this is that it doesn't really work if you want to go too fast, I think. Or maybe it does. Maybe it depends on the situation. I think I found that this sometimes doesn't work for these type of setups, like particular parameters. But when it comes to random signals, this is the kind of random signal that I would like to just have inside of Serum. where it's really just randomly going up and down is basically what's happening here, I think. And you can control with it the cutoff of Doom, for example. Yeah, so in Ableton, anytime you want to configure a parameter, you just hit configure. Let's say I take this filter cutoff here. It shows up on here, and then you just map it. Right, so now this is moving. And this is like actually random. And it sounds good. Not like what the Chaos Oscillator is doing. Do you think wavetable or operator could make decent size sounds? Yes. Yes, you can do psytrance with any sound if you want to. Or with any synth if you want to. Wavetable is fairly powerful actually. Personally, I don't use these. I've never really experimented with these, but you can definitely work with them. Been trying, but I never seem to sound as Serum or Vital. Yeah, it's obviously a different system, so you're going to have different ideas and different sounds from it. But the process of sound designing, it's also the idea that you're taking the synth and making it your own. So if you're following a tutorial that is meant for Serum, it's only going to really work for Serum because the sound was created with Serum, with Serum in mind, right? With its infrastructure and its whole layout and stuff. If you have a different synth, you're going to make different decisions, and therefore you're going to get different sounds. I don't know why the wider plugin you showed in the short, it's a bit different. The one I downloaded recently, but it's very good, and I'm using it for stereos. I improved it in all of. Okay, what happened with wider is that they made a version 2. Right? You want to have the version 2 specifically if you want to stereonize your bass with this, so that you can remove the lower harmonics from stereonization. Right? So this won't affect the lower frequencies of your bass line. It's been a while. Yes, welcome. I was looking at the chat for a little bit, trying to remember if I could pronounce your name, and I just gave up. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll focus on this plug. Let's go. Kind of want that kind of darkish plug. We'll probably want like a long decay for this, and then obviously a long release as well. Maybe like that. I want this to be a bit longer on both of them so that they have the time for the auto modulation to ring out. If you've downloaded it recently, it should be the 2, yes. But if you just get it off the Polyverse site itself, then you're sure it's going to be 2. Because there's a website like VST for free and stuff like that that have their own download service. And maybe they haven't updated it yet. Like they haven't changed the file on their part. But the version 2, if you just go to the Polyverse website, it should be there. Here's another name that I'm going to need a little bit of time. Chambable. Chambable. You can just give me a nickname. No, I don't want to do that. At the end, I do want to like salute everybody by their name. It's just your name is just, I mean, it's so different from anything that we have here in Europe in terms of language, I guess. Or at least the places that I've lived, you know, Italy, the Netherlands, and obviously like in English as well. There's not really a pronunciation for it. Cheba. Yeah, that's not making it better. Maybe it's just me. Don't worry. It's just me. My pronunciation is just not great. I think a cool thing for plugs, apart from the unison itself, which is obviously like crucial, but I think a cool thing you can do is have this like all trigger from the same, and then we can have that as a macro effect. What are we having here? Diego. That's something I can pronounce. That's something I can work with. I'll see if I can remember. Now is the other problem. Now I have to remember that your name is actually Diego. But I've said it out loud twice now, so maybe I will. Okay, we'll do our mod wheel here. In this case, we don't want to actually block the other automation or the other modulation. We can send this to here and make another copy. We can start with some delay reverb. That's sounding good. I guess both of these can be fairly high. May change my name on YouTube here later. That would help, but don't do it for me. It doesn't really matter, at least. Yeah, okay. That's true. I do tend to remember you guys by the name. It's a really strange thing. Like normally when you're friends with someone, or you know somebody, you know their face, but I've never seen anybody's face in the chat here. I guess apart from Dash and MindB, but apart from that, I don't have anything else that I can remember you by. Klaus, the only thing I remember, like the only thing that some people may be set apart with is if they consistently have like different music. So for example, Klaus, he has a very original style to his music, and that's something that I remember about Klaus, but I cannot remember that for everyone. There's going to be like a limit to that, right? Because I have now, I would say like 10, 15 people that's like show up more than once in my stream. That every once in a while, sometimes they join in every stream, like my Logify, Klaus, MindB, they tend to always be there at least for a while. And then there's other people that show up maybe once a month, and in that case I cannot remember. Yeah, and I have the picture, but even that, a lot of people have no picture. Like Cheba, he just has the default C, right? Diego is also very common here in Italy. We can add a little bit of resonance maybe in here. And then we'll slightly compensate for it with the... Maybe a if I don't do that. Oh, even like that, it goes lower in volume. I guess it already automatically compensates for it. But in this case, we have to do it ourselves as well. What's happening here? Why is it sometimes showing it twice, like the macro thing? Add a hyper to this. Use this kind of like a leveler. That's nice. Final macro will add some attack. That's maybe a good idea. Let's add the same attack on both of them. Let's go try 17. Yeah, that works. Japan. Isn't it winter in Brazil now? I guess it doesn't ever really become winter there, does it? Because it's so close to the equator. And you don't have a connection to the pole. Is it dangerous? 35, yeah, okay. It's not winter. Do you guys have what's it? The hurricanes? Because I heard something about hurricanes in America, but now it's on the other side. It's like in California, which is apparently very rare. The Hurricane Hillary. I heard something about that. I'm not really. It's winter, but it's warm. Yeah, okay. It doesn't really change that, right? You don't have. Oh, that's okay. I would assume that it would also be at the other side, right? Because you have the equator, and then on both sides, I think the storms, because they rotate differently, right? Nothing of that. Well, earthquakes aren't really weather related, but at least for the hurricanes and tornadoes, that's nice. You have warm snow. 17 in Sweden. Yeah, in Northern Europe, it hasn't been hot at all, and here it's been unbearably hot the whole summer. Annoyingly hot. Just saying about natural disasters. I mean, I'm sure you're going to have some at some point. I'll knock on my desk, hope that doesn't happen, but what are the chances of that? First time snowing in the south area. Okay. Just download it and upload it. The new version. Perfect. I mean, yeah, I would love to have 17 degrees right now. It's next week is going to be better. It's going to storm, so it will turn down by a lot the temperature. So it will go down to like 24, which is a 16-degree drop from now. I had no idea knocking on the desk was worldwide. It's not a Dutch thing. I know it from the English, like knock on wood. We do have like a knocking, but it's just knocking in general. In Dutch, I think you can knock on anything. Or the luck thing. Oh. Forgot to name something. There we are. There's a few habits that we have that really gets me wondering where it began. Do you guys know of this channel? I'll shout this channel out. This is cool. Because he made a video on a similar kind of thing. Like one of those universal things that just happens anywhere. This is Lemino. He makes very, very, very well produced, almost I mean, the last few videos, this is just a documentary. Like, you can see the animation coming in and stuff like that. And here as well, this is the same. This is all animated by him. But one of the videos that he made is this universal S. You can see the symbol here. I think everybody has drawn this symbol at one point in their life. And that's one of the things. Like the same thing is with knock on wood. I guess that's more like a saying. But the drawing of the S, and nobody knows where it comes from, that drawing. It just started happening somewhere. And for some reason, the whole world knows about it. Because he went, he goes through the data and he actually asked, one of those bureaus that allow you to do surveys, like mass surveys. And if you don't know, let me know, by the way. You're going to be in for a treat, because his content is amazing. Like, it's some of the best produced content on YouTube. I'll drop his link in chat. Here you go. But he talked about the data, and it's like over the whole world. And there's very few things like that, even like sayings and stuff like that, that transcend even cultures as going into like Asia and Africa and the Arabic world. But this S thing is apparently just everywhere. Everybody draws it, everybody knows about it, and nobody knows where it comes from. At least not definitively. Anyway, I am getting very, very sweaty. I mean, I was already sweating when I started this stream, and I know I was going to be sweating here for the whole time. But it's getting to a point where I'm like, do I still want to sit here and sweat? I do really want to shower. So I think I'm going to end it here. It's a little bit of a shorter stream than usual. Normally I aim for like 3.5 hours. And I know a few people just joined in. But that's always going to happen. Either way, what I think I'll do is send you guys off to... Isn't Black Marvin, isn't he live? Yes. I'll send you guys off to Black Marvin. And everybody go say hi for me. I'll drop his link in the chat as well, so you guys can go watch him. Just click the link and we'll all be there, and then we'll watch him instead. We'll do a little bit of a raid and give him some viewers, and then I'm going to finish it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my little sound design session. I know we didn't make a lot of presets. How many did we make? Like 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 or something like that. Maybe 7, which is not a lot in 2 hours, but I did have a nice relaxed chat with you guys, and all the good stuff that you usually stream for. So I enjoyed it. I hope that Friday it's a little bit colder and I can stream normally again with a webcam. And then Sunday it should be cold enough that it's all normal. And try suspending yourself from the ceiling next time. I will. That's actually a good tip, because you do know when you're sitting down which area is the area that's going to be sweating the most, right? That would really help. Anyway, see you guys. Everybody go join Black Marvin's stream, and I'll see you there. I'll stick around there for a little bit as well. We'll all go and say hi to him. And I'll see you guys next time. See you. I wave to the camera, but that doesn't do anything.